you want to lean in instead of lean out. And what usually happens is the relationship improves once you put something on the table and you both collaborated a way that's going to be beneficial for both of you going out there. So I'm just jamming with Ben. Ben won the Royalty Rockstar Award of the Day for taking some action. That's what I'm trying to like really get people is, yeah, we're all going to fail. We're all going to fuck shit up, but just taking that action and getting rocking and rolling. Ben, tell us a little bit about what happened and where you got the idea from.
Yeah, so I've been following you for a couple of years now, and I'd gotten that the newsletter, your $8 a month newsletter,
Yeah,
and
that's my big ticket now.
it's made me a lot of money. And you had said that the best place to look is to, or you said to find people that have sell to sellers, right?
Yeah.
And shortly after that, I met a guy who was an SEO guy, and we got to talking, and he needed somebody to run ads for his clients, and I run ads. So we just set up a relationship and it made sense. And ever since then, he has been just putting more and more people on my plate. And there's some things I don't like about the arrangement, some things I do.
Sure.
My first deal, but
I don't think there's a perfect one out there, but yeah.
overall it's been pretty good. And he sent about 50, 55 clients over right now. And he just pays me per client. And so every time he finds a new person, I get a little bit more money and he gets a little bit more service. And now I'm putting in a new assistant, training him up so that I don't have to do all the work. It doesn't take me much work anyway, but the less of it I can do, the better.
I
You
love it. That's what we want to do. We want to be like, I always say the Jabba the Hutt method. And it's very unappealing, but I think it helps it stick in my mind. We want to be like this big, lazy Jabba the Hutt that can't type on a keyboard. And like we can just maybe tell people like stuff to do. I'm being a little bit crazy here, but I think that's a good way to like, how do we just engineer these great situations where there's so much meat on the bone where everybody can, even if we get a smaller piece, right? But we don't have any headaches, we don't have any those kind of things. So I think you're going down the exact right direction. And so what's also happened is this one guy is doing all the sales for you, right? Are you have to go in and sell like these 50 people that you're working? Did you have to go in and sell them on this or?
I've never talked to any of them. So he does all the selling. He manages everything on that side. So he does
Yeah.
all the customer service for them. He just sends me money and I just do the work on the ad accounts and that's it. And
So
soon I
let's
won't have to
pause
do
a
that.
second and just so I can get a real clear. So what does this gentleman do specifically for the people that he's bringing to you? What does he do for them?
So he builds websites and does SEO, and he'll build like landing pages and whatnot. And so I just drive that traffic. Yeah.
So he does the web pages and SEO, or you're just his SEO department? What was he doing before you came there?
So he does the SEO. He does the word. He builds WordPress sites,
Okay.
and I do the Google paid traffic.
Oh, the paid traffic. Gotcha. Okay. I got my wires crossed. Perfect. So this kind of goes into the other concept. Okay. So the first concept, and the reason I want to focus on this shit changed my life, right? From an old guy named Jim Straw. He said, stop selling onesie twosie. Go find basically a Walmart that will keep ordering stuff from me. Now, obviously, I'm just a boy from Arkansas. I'm not going to go. Walmart's probably not going to sell my stuff. But there's all kinds of little mini Walmarts out. There's all kinds of distribution, but they're not considered buyers as much as they are sellers. And what he made the point was, is sellers are your best buyers because in order for them to sell something, they got to have something to buy too, right? So, like some of the guys I know that's crushing it in the Amazon business aren't the guys that are putting their listings up on Amazon. It's kind of wholesaling to those people. I met some of these guys like they're doing tens of thousands of units a day by wholesaling out to all the sellers on there, right? The second concept, and I get excited about this stuff, one, because I'm a dork, and two, it's one of my flaws, but is the concept called NEER, right? Which is into new money from old courses, right? But NEER is the naturally existing economic relationship, right?
Yeah.
So what's happened is this guy, he does websites and he does SEO, and he probably gets asked all the time, or what's the frustration? Let's say he doesn't do PPC, which what you do for him, right? What made this such a no-brainer for him? Like, why was he already probably pre-sold on it before you ever got to him?
So he was already driving traffic through Google for his clients, but he was doing it through an Indian company that wasn't doing a good job.
Okay.
So he was actively looking for someone to drive the traffic. And in this case, they were just doing a terrible job. And I met him at a local Chamber of Commerce event, a networking event. I just popped in on a
Yeah.
whim, and so it was like a very easy. He was already looking for me and just happened to find me. So
Perfect.
uh, I didn't have to do much selling or telling because he already needed me.
Yes, you already had the pain, but even behind that pain, like behind having the Indian company do it, what was driving that? Even he's already doing websites and he's doing the SEO for him, right? What do you think his clients kept coming to him and asking him for? They probably weren't asking for, okay, we need SEO, and they might have, but what is it? Or like we have this traffic, but what's the drawbacks with like SEO and stuff, right? So what I'm looking at is like, what's the pain point they already that his customers have, right? That's driving him. It's like that empty spot. Sam Walton, if 1,000 customers are saying, "Oh, we want to have organic tomatoes," right? He's going to go out there and try to source those organic tomatoes, right?
For him, I think it was just SEO takes forever, right?
Yeah.
So the speed of the leads coming in through the websites he built and just getting them that money
Yeah.
and leads to prove, yeah.
Joe, brick and mortar business, hires this guy to put a website up for them. They see the website, they're like, "Oh, this is beautiful." Right now they have a baby and they want people to see the baby, right? Okay. So now we've got to do the SEO, right? And they're looking at their traffic stats and they're like, okay, we're up to 5 visitors a day, which is cool, right? But there's that natural, okay, so I get SEO is going to take me a while. Like, they're probably like, hey, is there any way we can get traffic faster to this? What's this Google AdWords? What's this PPC, right? So, what I'm trying to get across is sell to a seller, and those sellers are trying to make their people happy. So, it's not just about a dollar amount. Do you think you're probably more expensive or less expensive than the India company? This
I'm,
probably doesn't.
I'm definitely more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is less about a monetary situation and more about fulfilling his clients, his customers' needs in a better way, which is really the reason I'm going on this is like there's a difference between affiliate marketing and licensing, right? Affiliates are mostly about the money. Show me how much what's your conversions? What's the upsells? What's all this? I'm not saying that licensees aren't interested in that, but what licensees are trying to do is say, here's a problem that all my people have, and I would like to solve this for them, regardless of how much money it makes me. And it's cool if it makes me money.
Yeah.
And then you come in, what happened? You took one or two clients, and what happened after that? I call it the first date period, right? You guys got together, and what happened after that? After the, hey, here's what we think a first date will look like. And then what happened? What was the first date like?
So what happened was I took on a local dentist for him, and that was it. Just one client to see how things would go. And I immediately started reducing the cost of, I went through the accounts and just redid what the Indians had done.
Yeah.
And I started reducing the cost per lead pretty drastically. And so he got super excited about that. And I started getting a better quality clients because
So the dentist got excited, or your partner got
so
excited, or both of them?
both, because the
Yeah.
dentist absolutely loved this because so the Indian company was running leads just for general dentistry, but they don't do that. They do only root canals and
Yeah.
crowns and caps. And in a small town, I started reducing costs and getting them leads only for that. So they were spending less money and getting higher quality leads. So they got excited, he got excited, and then
Yeah.
the next week, I think he gave me 3 more clients. Then he asked me what I would do for his biggest client, which
So
is
first
actually,
date went well, right? This is
yeah,
that big concept I try to get across in all my stuff. Probably you don't want to have him sign an agreement that I'm going to take on 50 people because you may not have liked him either, or it may, but
yeah.
getting that first date for you and for him. But as soon as that first date goes half-assed, they're excited. They want to like go on that second date. So that's awesome. Yeah.
So first I started taking on a bunch of his smaller clients, and then he's actually got another relationship like this where he has a back decompression company. And what they do is they go into local chiropractors, put in the machines to do back decompression, and then they work with them on the marketing and whatnot. So they got a whole team of people to go out and find chiropractors to do that with. And then they all get branded under a single brand. That brand is the company that we do the
Yeah.
ads for. So he's got a whole sales team of people out there on his end doing the exact same thing. And
That's
so,
awesome.
so it's kind of layered.
Let's I like to get detailed, right? So let's go back to the dentist because you said you got a major cost reduction, but I bet some other things happened there too. So the India company was running them leads that weren't the root canals and the what was the other one they did? They did root canals and what?
So they do root canals, caps, like caps and crowns. So everything
So
related to a root canal.
so how would the leads typically come into them by phone call? Like how was the lead get to them?
So they've got phone calls, and that was another thing. We only measure the phone calls and the web forms that get filled out, whereas
Perfect.
they were measuring like local directions, people going to various pages,
Yeah.
is local actions that aren't necessarily as concrete.
I'm just thinking as the dentist though that you're helping. So I try to get in their shoes and live in their world, right? He just wants to do his dentist stuff, right?
Yeah,
He just does wants to do his root canals and put on caps and stuff, right?
yeah.
And so he's got to hire somebody to answer the phone. So what he sees, what his reality is, the phone is ringing all the time, and he knows he's spending money to make that phone ring, right?
Yeah.
And then they get on the phone, they know it's expensive, and they're like, oh, another teeth cleaning. Oh, and so it's not only a money thing, it's a headache and frustration thing with taking phone calls that aren't qualified. Somebody's got to staff that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what a staffing situation it looks like.
Yeah.
But if you're taking 20 calls a day, right, on the new stuff, I'm making up bullshit numbers, but then you got all the old patients calling, right? And a lot of these dentist offices, like my little dentist office is pretty small, right? But that salary is expensive, right? So if they can reduce all those calls to 3 good calls a day, right? The 3 that they want, right?
Yeah.
And it's not only just a cost savings, but it's a headache savings, a fed upness savings, maybe a staffing savings, or even if they're not going to fire the person there, right? Or lay them off. Maybe they have other stuff that they could do, like calling up old customers, rescheduling appointments. So there's ends to all of these things, right? That kind of slips by them. Cool. So you're getting more and more business. You got about 50 people that you're running it for. So now you're getting ready to get some help, a little bit of help in there, right? Awesome. Are you working with any of those 50? Are there like more than one in the same business? Or is there any one of those businesses that's more interesting to you?
Almost all of them are chiropractors or back decompression.
Really?
Yep. There's just maybe 4 or 5 of them that are outside of that
Local.
realm. Local chiropractors, but all over the country.
Okay. So this guy works
Yeah.
with Kairos all over the country.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, it's like Denton, Texas, and
Yeah.
yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska, etc.
Are
So
your ads pretty much the same from Denton, Texas to Lincoln to
they're the exact same. I don't use any location or any names. So I literally copy and paste from one account to the other, use the same
yeah,
keywords. I'll look into keywords and other accounts of what's doing well. And I'll do 90-day to 120-day look at the keywords to see what's working. And that's why it doesn't take any time on my part,
yeah.
is because I'm literally just copy and pasting campaigns across to the other two. Yeah.
So just by any chance, have you watched the Rebecca Duran's case study in Royalty Rockstar?
I have not. No, not yet.
Oh, dude. So what she's done is taken what she does it for martial arts schools. So she started out doing working as a PPC ad agency for martial arts schools, and she was really good. She could make their phone ring with just the right people that that didn't want to do hourly, but they wanted to do year packages and stuff. But she got burnt out. There's so many people and everything, but there's a really big licensing opportunity because you can take what you're doing, you can take those ads and license it out. And she thought she would be able to charge as much as she did as a regular agency, but
Yeah.
she's charging just the same. So for 15-ish, $2,000 a month, she just gives them the ads and everything. Now she helps them keep it fresh, right? Like in Valentine's Day, they might have special promotions that go on, right? But she can disseminate that out to all of her licensees, right? At the same time, but she charges $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And guess who's pushing the buttons? The martial arts schools pushing the buttons. So you got a gold mine on your hand. If it's working for a dentist, and there's a lot of dentists now that are doing implants, the 4-on-4 implants and stuff, and those are like $35,000, $50,000 cases. Ask me how I know. So they want more of those, right? So if you can help them get some implant cases, right? Like they're sitting pretty for a while. If you get people to call in for those implant cases, right? But taking what you're doing, right, and packaging it up into intellectual property and then disseminating it out, right? Rather than you pushing all the buttons, you get them to push the buttons, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It almost feels like it won't work at first, but a lot of these people would rather have it in-house and but also they have turnover. If I give them the ads, like, why will they need me? Because the dentist doesn't want to train his staff to run the ads. So if he loses a staff member, it could be a front desk person that's also doing the ads, right? But if they
Yeah.
lose that person, they don't want to have to retrain them. So they just pay this money over and over again. And you can jump on calls and do Q&A, but it's probably a lot easier for you to hire somebody to do a Q&A call for 50 people, right?
Yeah.
Than to do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, check out there's a case studies, Rebecca Duran, and she
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
crushes it with that. So like one of the things I always try to look at is how can I get the most use out of what I'm already doing? I
Yeah.
think a lot of people like are sitting on gold mines. That's why I'm so passionate about licensing. If you've got something that worked to a small amount of people, right? Most of the time we're not even scratching the surface. So I don't want you getting any conflict with the dude you're working with, but he probably can give you connections and stuff and you can cut him in. But that's what I would look at doing is taking one, or if you do it for a bunch of chiropractors and it works over and over again, like now go find you, there's all kinds of chiropractor associations and organizations and trade magazines, right? And you could they're easy to reach, right?
Yeah.
So you could license those out to them, right? You could license it by geography if you wanted to. Hey, if you want exclusive rights to, I'm trying to get blue collar place, right? Like wherever, making maybe an automobile manufacturer is. It used to be Detroit, right? But they're different places now, right? But if you want to be the only chiropractor in Detroit that has this, then it's going to be $5,000 a month, right? If you don't mind sharing it, then it can be 1,000 a month or whatever, right? But you can do it by geography, just all kinds of really cool stuff where Ben doesn't have to push all the buttons, or Ben's hired doesn't have to push all the buttons.
Yeah, I love that. So something I was thinking about, like I had not thought at all about the ads themselves, but what I was thinking about is the system that I use to run the ads themselves. I can literally put together rules and scripts inside of Google, so it actually runs automatically if I wanted.
All
I
all that,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's part of the challenge that Rebecca ran into because she could get their phone to ring, but then they were horrible at answering the phone. most time the problem people think that they have is not really the main problem. But so she also licensed in that. Here's how you answer the phone. Here's how. So they had this whole basically kit. Now, you wouldn't start out with all that, right? You get you a guinea pig and say, here's what I'd like to do, right? And work with you. And then you build out that prototype or that guinea pig package, which you already have some from them, right? The whole idea is to use licensing rather than our muscle and rent out our IP rather than sell our time, if that makes sense. And you already got the seeds of it there.
Oh, yeah, I love that. And I'm like super excited right now. Yeah, like my brain's going a little crazy on
Yeah,
this.
you have to put that, I call it put that in the crock pot for a minute. You got to put that in the
Yeah.
crock pot. But I would just start with something that you're already doing these chiropractors well. And I don't know what your non-compete or kind of thing you got going on, but I'd
I
find somebody.
literally have no contract at all.
Yeah, so I'd find somebody else who has like their chiropractor's attention. There's all kinds of chiropractor coaches and mentors and associations. And then I would use the spin opener situation problem. Hey, any of your, I'm just gonna use dentists because we were talking about that, but do you have any dental office like only do certain kind of cases, but they get all these people calling in or they're paying for ads? They haven't figured, oh my gosh, yes. Or do they ever put up a website and they're doing SEO, but they're just not getting enough leads? And then you can go out there and provide a whatever coffee date or first date you want for those people. I tell this example all the time, and probably people get tired of hearing it, but I helped a girl that was doing reputation management, right? And she was really successful at it, but she would do reputation management for auto dealers, right? And the problem with that is she would have to cold call so many of these auto dealers, right?
Yeah.
It was just a grind, right? I'm like, girl, like there is in every city, that is the National Automobile Dealers Association, right? There's a NADA in every single city. Why don't you call them up and say, hey, do you in? Because she's already not bashful. Do you any of your car dealerships ever get bad reviews on Yelp? And then it comes up on the search engine. Oh my God, yes. Like it drives them absolutely batshit freaking crazy. Because I'll be happy to do a class and show them how to get that pushed down, right? Oh my God, they would love that. So she would get NADA to send to her. It wasn't Zoom at the time, it was like GoToWebinar. Send to her GoToWebinar. And
Yeah.
so she had their halo. She would come on and do a class. Sometimes it'd be 10 people, 10 dealers. Sometimes it'd be less. Sometimes it'd be more. But they would come on and she would show them everything. Here's what you need to do, right? You need to create these videos. You need to create these articles. And then here's how you get them ranked. And then it'll push down all that bad stuff for you. Ben, what do you think happened at the end? Right.
Everybody came up to her.
Yeah,
Everybody came
they
up to
don't
her
want to
asking her to
do it
do it
on
for
their
them. Yeah.
own. She's, hey, if you want to do all this or have somebody on your team to do it all, awesome. But if you like me, and they already trust her because it came from NADA, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing you can do, right? The NEER, naturally existing economic relationships, right? NADA benefits if their car dealers do better. So you got to figure out what are the dental supply companies in the area, right? Or where do the chiropractors buy their supplies? Where they buy their tables from? Where they buy the TINS machines and all those things? Where do they buy those from? Rebecca did this too with her martial arts people. She texted one insurance. He was an insurance guy. He provides insurance for martial arts schools. And she's all, hey, do you think if you're I said insurance uniforms? It was uniforms. She's all, hey, do you think if your clients' classes had more kids in it, you do more business? He's like, yeah. Would you be open to talking about me helping put more kids in your clients' classes? Yeah. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
business can be an extremely easy game if we look for where the naturally existing relations are, especially if they're economic, right? So if you have something for chiropractors that really kicks ass, go find somebody that their life blood that is dependent on those chiropractors doing better.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You're a pretty good deal maker, right? And you just, hey, let's just do it for one of your people. You do it like a first date, just like you did for this guy, right? And you've already got most of it in there, and then you can just build it out with one good person and then go
Yep.
take it to other places.
Yeah. As I was making this deal with him, I could hear your voice in my head saying, just do a first date. It'll go from there. Just get one small thing working with him and see how it goes, and it's gone.
That's awesome, dude. I'm proud of you, man. Super proud of you, dude. And taking that action in the group. And I have a feeling we're going to be seeing more Rockstar Awards coming your way. But any questions that you have for me, we can stop the recording and then we can go more personal if you want to. But any questions you have for me that might be helpful for the rest of the rock stars? If not, that's cool.
So I've run into a few things with this guy where he's like just wanting to try to change the deal, right?
Yeah.
So he's wanting to pay me a flat fee now, which there's no way I want to do that.
Yeah.
And he's pushing me more towards an employee role, and I
Yeah.
don't want to work for the guy. Why in the world would I?
Yeah.
If I'm working with him, but I don't want to work for him.
Yeah.
And he's requested, and I have not agreed to this, but he's requested that I only work with him because he wants all my focus on his stuff, because he's concerned
Yeah.
that if I take my focus off his stuff, it's going to go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
results are going to start slipping through the cracks or whatever. But
Yeah.
how would you deal with those sort of
Well, let me ask you,
situations?
how have you dealt with it so far? If you don't mind
I've
me asking.
most I've mostly just avoided the conversations. So
Perfect. And it's really, I'm glad you like got enough guts to say that. That's really the thing in any relationship. What I'm trying to do is get the truth put on the table in a way. And most of the time our relationships will be in harmony because we really have the same goals, right? Sometimes we approach them a little bit differently, but we have the same goals, right? I would just tell the dude exactly what you told me, but maybe in a nicer way, right? Hey, I appreciate, and probably the reason he's wanting to why do you think he was wanting to lock you in?
he what he said is that he wants my focus only on his stuff, so that
Why do you think that is? Those are the big questions I would ask if he's saying that. Like, hey, why is that important to you? I would try to, because we're trying to get to the goals that he wants.
what he's told me is that in the past he's had experiences where people will be focused on his stuff, working on other stuff, and then they will leave him, and he'll be stuck in a bad situation.
Yeah. And so how does he pay you now? Is it you get paid more when he brings you more people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. It's a little hard to have an imaginary conversation, but I would try to understand where he's coming from, obviously, and what you're both wanting to do. So this is where I always point out is what do we both want? What I'm hearing you say is you want to make sure you can provide this service that's really helpful for all your clients, and you don't want the quality to go down. I'm totally on board with that. I want the same thing, right? I want to provide the best quality I can for your people, right? At the same time, and I always use at the same time, or on the other hand, as a pivot, right? At the same time, at the same time, I'm the kind of guy that doesn't want another boss. I don't want a boss, and I don't want to be chained down anywhere, right? And I want to be able to work in a partnership where if I bring more creative ideas and I bring more energy to it, and I even bring in people that I can grow the pie along with you, right? What I'm after is the biggest pie that we can grow together. And the worst possible thing that I could do to you is go on retainer or go on a fixed fee. Because the minute we do that, we are on opposite sides of the table. You're naturally going to want to try to get as much as you possibly can for that retainer. And I'm going to try to do as little as possible for that retainer because my earnings are capped.
Yeah.
If you're, since we both want to grow the pie as big as possible, right? Let's keep our partner relationship. So when you bring new people, I'll have more revenue to put into creative solutions for them, revenue to help me get assistants and helpers that I can bring in and help, right? Which will bring the quality up for you guys, right? So I'm always looking at like, what is the partnership? I've been married 30 years, right? For the first 10 years, I was just a disaster, right? But most of the time we have the same goals in mind. It's just how we approach them sometimes, right? But the best thing is just like putting the truth on the table in a cool way. And sometimes you'll hit an impasse, right? And I do this all the time in my, hey, I want to look over your copy on every single email or every single thing you pick up. Is that an unreasonable request? No. But I'm able to say no to that. Hey, I understand you want to look at every piece of copy, right? And that's not going to work for me. Where do we go from here? Right. Now you guys have progressed past that. And really what he's saying is, Ben, I don't want to lose you. He's worried
Yeah.
about losing you, if that makes sense. But what he's doing is exactly the thing that's going to make you want to run away.
Yeah.
And this is what happens, right? So this is where you want to have that, you want to lean in instead of lean out, right? In those
Okay.
kind of things. And what usually happens is the relationship improves once you put something on the table and you both collaborated a way that's going to be beneficial for both of you going out there. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't, and again, I don't know how big his network is, but if you could say, hey, so we're only working with 5 chiropractors right now. How many other chiropractors do you have? Oh, I have 50. What if we start licensing it? If you can get me the intros, I can get it in there. We can start licensing it to them. I can give you a piece, right, of that. Does that make sense? So now you guys can grow together in that relationship over a marriage, right? Rather than divide it up, his and hers, right? Here's my line, here's your line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you. One thing I did tell him that because obviously I don't want to have him as like my only income source, right? And I do have another client or two, but he's the majority of my money coming in right now. Because as a year ago, I was not in the best spot. But so I had some other people coming to me asking me for the same sort of relationship, but with different types of contractors, right? Like
Yeah.
plumbing and
Yeah.
general contractors, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave that money on the table. I went to him because I knew he didn't really want me working with other people.
Yeah.
And, but also I don't want to leave money just laying around. And so I went to him and said, what if I cut you in on the deals that I make? And then you're making some extra money and you can do the SEO and the
Yeah.
website stuff for them.
That's it.
And then I'll be, and I can pull in some other clients. And he was agreeable to that.
Yeah, because you're partnering, right? I think the partner relationship's a lot better than the master servant relationship over the long term. But yeah, that's great. Hey, so they call this making the royal flush, right? We're just bringing our 10 of hearts, right? So so now if you're working with plumbers and they need websites and they need SEO, right? It makes so much sense to plug them in the other way. But you can be entrepreneurial too with, hey, how many chiropractors are you working with? And let's do some licensing. And you could take the money from licensing and start paying him. Does that make sense? And then you got a very back and forth type of relationship because you're doing business together in a partnership. You're a paycheck to him the same way he's a paycheck to you as well.
Yeah, makes sense. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome, dude. Awesome. Super proud of you, man. Thank you for letting us turn on this recording. I'm going to turn it off and then we can go all kinds of junior high.